Hi, my name is Kane, and I did a summary of the 7 keys to effective feedback. First, what is feedback? Feedback is information about how we are doing in our efforts to reach a goal. These are not comments of praise or evaluation. They are neutral, valuable help. The feedback should focus on what students did or did not do in relation to their goal. It should not give the students a score to focus on, but rather steps to improve their work. My example that I came up with was giving students an online multiple choice test where after they get through it, it will tell them which ones they got right versus wrong. And on the wrong ones, it will give them a hint on how to get it right and give them another chance to try that one again. There are 7 essentials to focus on: goal referenced, tangible and transparent, actionable, user-friendly, timely, ongoing, and consistent. First is goal referenced. Students should have a goal, take actions towards that goal, and then receive feedback that directly connects their goal to their actions. This requires that we have a clear goal in mind and that the students and the teacher both understand that goal. It's important for teachers to remind students what they are working towards and criteria that they could use to self-assess along their way so that they don't forget what that ultimate goal is at the end. Tangible and transparent. Students have learned from tangible feedback their whole lives. For example, learning the word more as a child, they learn it will get them more food or more time to play. The best feedback is so concrete that anyone can learn from it. Students need to be focused on the feedback when they are receiving it, or else they could miss it. Think about if you were trying to give someone feedback while they were shooting a basketball. They're focusing so hard on the goal of getting the ball into the net that they're not going to focus on what you're telling them. Be sure that students are finished with their performance and are prepared to take in all of the feedback. Teachers then need to focus on the clarity. Make sure that it's in student-friendly words and can only be interpreted the way that you intend it to be. Actionable. Effective feedback is concrete, specific, and useful. A B- grade just tells the student their grade. It does not tell them what they need to do more of or less time to get that grade to improve. Actionable feedback must also be accepted by that student. When the feedback is not descriptive enough to give actionable steps or to tell them what wasn't exactly right with their work, the students can sometimes become argumentative towards the points that they lost. Teachers should focus on offering neutral and goal-related facts. We should work to carefully observe and comment on what we saw based off of their original goal. User-friendly. Feedback is no good and has no value if the students can't understand it or if we overwhelm them with it. When teachers use highly technical language, students may not be ready for it, and then they can't learn from it. If we overload them with too much at once, we also can overwhelm them and they may shut down. From a personal perspective, I coach gymnastics, and I know with the girls, a lot of the times I'll see 6 or 7 things that they need to improve on a skill, but I'll give them the smaller ones to start first that are easy fixes, and then work our way up to the bigger ones so that way they can feel that sense of achievement before we conquer the biggest thing. If I throw all 7 of them at once, they kind of wonder why bother even try that skill in the first place. Probably the biggest and most essential is timely, because the sooner a student receives their feedback, the better. It doesn't have to be immediate, just timely, because if we think back to the basketball example earlier, throwing a basketball into a hoop, if I'm saying it right in the middle and interrupting that performance, it's not really going to do them any good. We need to find ways to make sure that students can get their feedback and opportunities to use it while their attempt and the effects of their attempt are still fresh to them. Teachers need to give them feedback before they're assessed on it again as well, because they didn't get a chance to improve on their skill before we reassess that skill. Sometimes it's hard to provide timely feedback, so some things to help are technology, like a computer-generated test or a Google form, colleagues, like forming grading rubrics together to go through assessments faster, and peer feedback, as long as you've already taught those students how to review each other and what to look for in a high quality output. Ongoing, students need opportunities to use the feedback to improve their work if the work needs the improvement. The more feedback we can give in real time, the better. And the real-time feedback also allows students to show their in-the-moment problem-solving skills. So if you give them that feedback, they may actually be able to tell you how they would adjust it in that moment, and you can see how they think on their feet. Consistent. Feedback must be stable, accurate, and trustworthy. Teachers need to be on the same page about expectations for high-quality work. This is why teachers should work together to grade assessments or performances and create dependable rubrics. For midterms in our school, we'll actually mix up the kids who took the grade tests from different teachers, and we'll all grade a little bit, and we grade them together so that way there's no bias and we know we're all looking for the same thing. The key to feedback is to gear it towards those long-term goals. The ability to improve your work depends on your ability to make adjustments to your work through ongoing feedback. You'll need to compare your work to an ongoing long-term goal. The summative assessments we typically use in schools only give a grade based off the short-term unit objectives and not towards a final performance standard. The advice I got from Grant Wiggins' article was to score student work in the fall and winter against the spring standards. Use more pre and post assessments to measure progress towards these standards, and do the item analysis to note what each student needs to work on for better and future performances. Remember, feedback is always necessary to learning. They're starting to show more research that the more feedback you give is better than giving more teaching. So this is my reference slide, and I hope this gave you guys a good kind of summary of the 7 keys to effective feedback. I look forward to hearing from you guys and what you got as a takeaway from this.